Set shortly after the events of last year's Wanted movie, Weapons of Fate is a third-person action game in which you play predominantly as Wesley Gibson, the son of a super assassin who has inherited his deceased father's gift for killing. The story gets pretty confusing, but all you really need to know is that you're going after the guy responsible for your mother's death, and that you have to kill loads of other bad guys before you can get close to him. Gunfights take place in a number of varied locales, including an office building, an underground cemetery, and a cable car station on the side of a mountain. One thing that all of the locations in Weapons of Fate have in common is that there are always plenty of objects for both you and your enemies to take cover behind. Getting into cover and even moving between different areas of cover is extremely easy. You just push a button, and even if you're quite far away from the cover you're aiming for, you'll get behind it almost instantly. Some of the cover is destructible, but for the most part, being in cover makes you invulnerable to attacks from anyone on the other side of it. That's also true for enemies in cover, who at times are impossible to hit even when their heads or other extremities are clearly visible. That can be a little annoying for sure, but the thing about Weapons of Fate is that it's a very gamey game. Gameplay mechanics that might be cleverly hidden in other games are all too apparent here, and for the most part it seems deliberate. If you need to move between two positions of cover without an enemy seeing you, you can use blind fire to force him back into his own cover, and then, when the edge of the screen gets all misty to let you know that he's suppressed, you simply point at the cover you want to move to and push a button. It's satisfying to outmaneuver enemies in this way, and to see them taking shots at your previous location as you flank them, but it also feels a little too easy and mechanical at times, because most enemies are similar and will fall for the exact same trick. The only obvious exceptions to this rule are the crazies who run straight for you and trigger a button-mashing minigame if they get within melee range. Anytime you can get close enough to any other kind of enemy to use a melee attack, you can kill them with a single button press. The brutal animations that play out for these kills are pretty cool, but the moves feel overpowered nevertheless. Many of the enemy's favourite hiding spots are also conveniently located next to exploding barrels and other items that you can shoot at to bring them out of cover or to kill them outright. In one of the game's more memorable levels, set aboard a doomed passenger airplane, you can even shoot at fire extinguishers to blow the doors, decompress the cabin, and eject enemies from the plane. That's one of the more satisfying ways to kill enemies in the game. Or at least it is until you gain the ability to bend bullets around corners. Bending bullets isn't challenging in the slightest, but when a guy is refusing to pop out and give you a clear shot at him, it's a great way to force him out of cover. Better yet, sometimes you'll be treated to a slow-motion close-up of your bullets spiraling through the air and killing an enemy outright. Slow motion is used elsewhere in the game as well, in sequences so over the top that playing them at regular speed would be impossible. These generally involve shooting down bullets that are headed your way, as well as taking down the enemy who fired them. These sequences look great, but in practice all you're actually doing is moving a crosshair around the screen and targeting a handful of very slow-moving objects. Later in the game, you learn to initiate a similar slow motion effect when moving between cover, but doing so uses up the same adrenaline resource as bending bullets and isn't nearly as useful. Sniper and turret sequences add some much needed variety, but there aren't many of them and they're not very good. The problem with both is that by default you spend all of your time in cover and can't see what's going on around you. So, when you pop up to take your shots, you really have no clue what's waiting for you. The other weird thing, that's especially noticeable for turret sequences, is that you don't have to kill everyone in a level to proceed. The objective just seems to be staying alive, which is really easy when you can duck behind cover in a split second at any time. Technically, Wanted Weapons of Fate is a bit of a mess. The visuals are rough around the edges, the frame rate stutters occasionally, and the load times are just long enough and just frequent enough to be irritating. Cutscenes recorded in engine are compressed so poorly that they look worse than the game. And on one occasion we did encounter a bug that made it impossible for us to target enemies who were clearly visible because there was no aiming reticle. Playing through the story from start to finish should take you between 5 and 6 hours. And although the action is repetitive, it's fun while it lasts. Collectible comic book covers and concept art don't add much to the replay value, and the option to play through the game again as bosses that you've defeated is really a missed opportunity because their moves and weapons are no different to Wesley's. There's also no multiplayer of any kind, so while Wanted Weapons of Fate is entertaining, it's difficult to recommend when there are so many better, more fully featured and longer shooters out there.
Until Brummel gets here, clean this up. Then we'll deal with the loom.
Ну, конечно, блядь, of course. But you are going to help?
Do you have any idea how much I paid for this?
Au revoir, сучка.